Welcome everybody to the 2024 Kia Sorento. It has been updated for the 2024, so they have brought in lots of updates visually inside and outside. It slots in below the Telluride and above the Sportage. And since I've done the Sportage and the Telluride and now this, I have now completed the holy trifecta of SUVs that Kia provides in North America. Let's see how this updated family crossover is. So, the updated Sorento. This is an all-new look for 2024. The body is mostly the same, so they didn't have to change too much. But yeah, they have changed a bit on the front, a bit on the rear, and mostly the changes are inside. So the updated front, you have this new updated grille with multiple slats, and it's gloss black for this X-Line Limited variant, which is the top-of-the-line road-going version. There is one more X Pro, a bit higher than this, but that's more rugged with all-terrain tires and stuff like that. So for road-going purposes, this is the most premium luxury version that you can buy. Also updated are these headlights, which look really cool. They are now it's full of cuts and creases, and it's got one of the coolest elements that Kia did implement long back, but they've brought it back for this, and those are the amber DRLs. I think these amber DRLs look really cool, especially when the light is just setting and when it's a bit dark. These lights really pop and they look so good. One of the more appealing, unique features of any car on sale on road today. They have some cladding on the bottom of the bumper. You have fog lights also integrated onto the bottom, but yeah, it looks really good. Also, what complements are the looks are this color. So this color, wolf gray, I really like. It's a bit of nardo grayish with a dash of brown touches inside, so a bit unique. It's not the usual nardo gray that we see on the roads with other brands. That little bit touch of brown really makes it stand out. When you come to the side of the Sorento is when you realize that yes, this is a sizable SUV and a size bigger than the Sportage, but a size smaller than the Telluride. It's got 3 rows, but the third row is a bit cramped. As you can see, the wheelbase is very big for the second row and the front row, and you've got this beautiful 20-inch wheels as well, which are matte black and are standard on the X-Line Limited. The X-Line Pro gets smaller wheels because to accommodate the all-terrain tires, but yeah, they look really good. And since this is the X-Line Limited, you get blacked out mirrors, you get a blacked out roof as well, and you get very chunky roof rails, which are actually functional, where you can actually mount stuff on it. But yeah, overall it's a very simplistic side profile compared to the front. Some cuts and creases, but it still looks very good. When you come to the rear of the updated Sorento, you can see there are very minute changes compared to the previous 2023. So one of the major updates is this taillight. So previously it was a split taillight setup. Now it's all connected, it's all LED. It looks pretty cool. One other change which I noticed, and I could be very wrong, are a little bit of chisels in the tailgate, and that's about it. The wiper is very neatly integrated into the spoiler. You do have a small little spoiler, but yeah, the wiper is so beautifully integrated, so nothing pops out. You have some basic badging, so you have Kia, Sorento and X lines, which signify that this is the top model. You have a lot of cladding on the rear bumper as well, which carries on from the side arches, and it's very beautifully integrated. Obviously it is a crossover, right, so they have to show some rough road ability, but yeah, very basic rear compared to the front, but it still works, and they didn't have to make too many radical changes to make it stand out on the road. While I'm at the rear of the Sorento, I'd like to show you the boot space. So ideally you'd reach out for the button here, but it's not here, it's actually hidden here. So if you open it, it takes its sweet time, but once it opens up, you can see that I have a few backpacks with the third row up, and it's really nothing. You can I can put maybe one more backpack at best, but you can always fold the third row down. So if you pull this latch and fold it down, you get access to a bit more luggage space, and you can easily put in 2 or 3 more suitcases for your weekend, but that would mean you can't carry passengers in the third row. But yeah, overall, for the overall dimension this vehicle has, the fact that it has a third row and some boot space is a very respectable thing overall. I'm now inside the Sorento. As you can see, it's a very familiar place if you've been in other new Kias. So you have this one curved connected screen, which is really nice to use. The graphics, the resolution is very nice, very clear and very easy to use as well. No lag as well, so the inputs are very quick. So The car is on right now and it's so refined that I can't tell anything, no vibrations, no noise, and I don't do that very often in shoots. I usually keep the car turned off. But yeah, the screen is very smooth. The wireless CarPlay works effortlessly. You have a host of settings you can tune for the sound system and stuff. The digital speedometer is also very clear, very nice, very easy to read, and it's not distracting in any way. You do have a 3-spoke steering wheel with aluminum paddles on the back. The steering itself I feel is a bit too thin, like the spokes. I feel like it's one of the thinner steerings I've used, and I'm kind of used to thicker steering, so it's not to my taste. It's not bad, but it's just not to my taste, and I prefer a thicker steering. But yeah, there's lots of gloss black as well, aluminum for the and buttons for the adaptive cruise control, the volume buttons and stuff like that. So overall it feels very premium. The leather finishing is very nice. The stitching is top notch. When you come to the center console, you do have a lot of gloss black. As you can see, you do have some silver chrome finishes as well. So you do have a small toggle on the top here for the heated and cooled seats. You do have a conventional gear lever, which I really like. You do have tons of gloss black, but lots of storage places to keep your knickknacks. So you have some storage to keep your stuff here. You have some storage to keep your stuff, like I've kept the keys of the car. You do have 2 squarish cup holders, but they do have adjustable supports inside to accommodate the size of the cup. You do have this touch panel, which is my biggest pet peeve in the interior. It's not bad, like the finishing and everything, and it looks really good, but there's only one screen. So currently I can either change my track, or if I touch, then I can change my HVAC controls, which I don't like. I mean, the EV9 has separate controls for everything, but everything is built in, and this is the new Kia theme. I think even the new Carnival has implemented this, which I'm really not a big fan of. I like to have certain buttons separate from each other, but at any given time, either I can change the volume, or change my track, or change my temperature and fan speed. I know I can change the volume from the steering wheel as well, but just the fact that I have to change temperature and every time I have to change the setting and then it goes back to the audio settings is a bit annoying, especially while driving. You do have a wireless charger and some more storage, only Type-C ports in this car. You do have some faux wood, a lot of leather on top of the dash. The seats are also very nice, very nicely stitched, and you do have X-line embossed on them, so it feels very premium. But yeah, lots of adjustments for lumbar, and it just feels very soft and very comfortable, which is very typical of Kia. You do have memory seats for the driver as well, and yeah, overall the interior feels very nice because you have some wood on the door as well, lots of leather over here with some nice white stitching, and overall the ambience feels very premium and very worthy of the price. In fact, I might say this feels the most premium in its segment inside here. I'm now in the second row of the Sorento. Yes, second row. There is a third row as well, but let's just be honest, it's very tight, and it's only meant for kids or shorter adults. I don't want to show you on camera me struggling to get into the rear and not fitting there properly. I know there is a open space in the middle, so kids can perhaps stretch their legs, but yeah, I cannot fit there, so it's not worth for me to try. But all I can say is that restricted to kids or city drives for shorter adults. But that means that you do have captain seats in the middle, which are very nice. You can get an option with a bench seat as well, but I do like these captain seats a lot. You do have individual armrests which are adjustable as well. The stitching is very nice. It's very soft, very plush. The leather is very cool. The seat back is adjustable, so I can move it front and back according to my comfort. I can slide the seat forward and back according to give space to the rear as well. You do have AC vents in the middle around a gloss pack panel. You do have a 12-volt charger and a proper plug point as well, which is very cool. You do have seat back pockets to store stuff, and you do have USB ports in the seats, which is pretty cool, but it's only Type-C. So as you can see, this is a latest modern car with only Type-C ports, because I think now phone makers are only providing with Type-C cables as well. You do have a panoramic sunroof, so lots of sun comes in, which is very nice. In an otherwise black interior, this is a saving grace because the roof liner is also beige. It feels very airy in the right areas. You do have the same trim as the front, so you have lots of wood, some aluminium, gloss black and leather here. You do have a cup holder in the door, which is very nice, and then you have another bottle holder in the bottom, which is just so practical, and it shows that this car is built for carrying your family for road trips, because it can accommodate all the needs that one would have on a road trip. You do have heated seats for the middle row as well, but yeah, it just feels very cool. Also, one party trick which I did not expect of a car of this price point to have is sun blinds, which are very cool, and I find them to be particularly dark, so when I put them up, I really cannot feel even an ounce of sunlight on me, which is so cool. But yeah, I mean, Kia and Hyundai know how to package a car, and Kia has left no stone unturned with the Sorento. Now behind the wheel of the 2024 Kia Sorento, so let's get the numbers out of the way. This has a 2.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, produces about 281 horsepower, is all-wheel drive on the X-Line. In fact, I think all variants are all-wheel drive in Canada, but US still gets some front-wheel drive variants in the lower variants. It has an 8-speed wet clutch, dual clutch automatic gearbox, and that's the only transmission available with this turbo engine. But yeah, it just feels very punchy. I'm driving and I'm cruising, and it's a very comfortable cruiser at highway speeds. Even in city speeds, it's very nice, it's very cool. You do have drive modes, so there is a normal, eco, sport, and smart. So I've been driving in normal, eco, and sport. In normal, it just cruises, and if you want to kick down, it drops a few gears very eagerly, and in no time you are done with your overtaking maneuver. If I put it to eco, it's definitely much slower. Everything dials down, and kick down takes its own sweet time. So if I change lanes, and I do have the amazing camera blind spot monitoring, so I do have a blind spot alert on the mirrors, but I do have this amazing camera setup as well, so it helps you see if there's physically a car visible or not, which is really an amazing tech, and I think more brands should implement something like this. But yeah, eco, it cruises at high speeds, but if you want to take a fast overtaking maneuver, you really have to think twice. Sport, no doubt, it feels punchy. It's always in the higher gear, and I could feel it dropping a gear or two to make sure that you are always alert. But yeah, normal mode suffices for most of the time. The ride is very good. I'm on some really bumpy patches of surface on the Gardner Expressway, and this car does not filter anything, let any bump filter into the cabin at all. Even though this is running on 20-inch wheels, which is pretty big, you don't feel anything. It's so good, so comfortable, so refined, and so calm. That's the beauty of the suspension tuning that Kia has done on the Sorento. It just feels so easy and relaxed to drive. You will not feel any rage at all because you're just so cocooned from the noise. The insulation is top notch. But even when the engine is turned on, you can hardly tell that the engine is on. It's so good, so refined, so beautiful. The brakes are nice, the pedal feels decent. It's a bit spongy, but you get used to it once you get driving. The fuel economy isn't the best in its segment, that's all I have to say. I know the engine is big in displacement, it's got good horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive, and it's a bit on the heavier side. But in city, you can get roughly 10-11 liters per 100, and on the highways, you can get 9.5-ish, which isn't the best. But yeah, if fuel economy is not your priority, then this is a very good crossover to drive. The steering is nice, it weighs decently. As I said, I don't like the thin spoke, so it feels a bit weird to hold for my hands, but otherwise it's very easy, very light in city traffic, so you don't have stress while you're doing a 3-point maneuver with this vehicle. Also, because the steering is light and you have so much gadgetry, you have cameras all around, you have 360 cameras and everything, it's just so easy to drive this vehicle on a day-to-day basis, and anybody can drive it. Even the most experienced or the least experienced person, they'll just feel right at home. That's just how Kia and Hyundai have been making their cars of late. Just so refined, so easy, so nice. In conclusion then, the 2024 Kia Sorento. It's been my first experience of driving the Sorento ever, and I haven't been disappointed. The crossover overall is really well packaged. It's got all the bells and whistles you could ask for, all the features and tech really that one needs in this day and age. It's got everything covered. I think it looks really good. It's really spacious, the engine is very punchy, the fuel economy is decent, and it's pretty good value as well. At $53,000 for this X-Line Limited with one option, which is the paint, it's a $250 option. I think it's really good value. And the one true rival of this vehicle is its sibling, the new Santa Fe. I mean, it all comes down to preferences. If you like the boxy looks, the Santa Fe is where it is for you. But if you want something more well-rounded, much more less offensive to look at, especially from the rear, sorry, I couldn't resist. But if you wanted something more well-rounded, the Sorento makes so much sense. And if I were in the market to buy a crossover, especially after driving this for a week, this would be one of my top contenders to buy.